Hey guys, this is James, and that's Denny
You know who it is.
from TeaDB, bringing you episode number 179. So today we are drinking some older tea, not as old as 1960, in fact much younger, but a tea that I would say is actually very much nice.
Yes. It's always nice. So all teas that you drink that you get from your friends are nice and they taste delicious no matter what.
Yeah.
Because they're free and you never...
Until their backs are turned.
And then you scowl about it on the internet.
Yeah.
You make reviews on TeaDB that vilify them. No. But this tea hopefully brings the perfect balance of age and beauty.
Yep. So this is a tea that is not cheap, and so we had a sample kindly sent to us by Linda and by Carolyn, so thank you to both of those people, Linda at Bana Tea, and let's take a smell of that. So this is the 1998 Evening Fragrant Jade. It is from Jingmai area in Yunnan, so this is a pu'erh. It was compressed, even though you wouldn't be able to tell it from these leaves. Right. And it supposedly comes from a very good source material. So we're just going to give this a quick rinse right here.
Cool. One rinse. Smells great. A little smoky.
Yeah, and let's have another smell.
It's always a good sound. Ooh, that smells a little bit messed up. Not gonna lie. I had a particularly strange whiff.
I'm getting a lot of sort of like stone fruits, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting that. Yeah, I'm not gonna say what I got at first.
Okay. Well, we will.
This is
keep it PG. Yeah.
It definitely smelled like it needed a rinse. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Well, we will be... I think this tea for me is at least a subtlety that grows on me. So we're going to try to get through a number of infusions here.
Great.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot. It smells great. I agree with the stone fruits, and the aroma is now calmed down and much more delightful.
Yeah,
so.
much less, much more PG rated than previously.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Guys.
It's got a nice sweetness already. It's light.
Yeah.
But, what would you expect right now?
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with Denny that the tea right now is very light. And one nice thing that you can do, and you could probably do this with the tea that we just had too, is you could push these older teas a little bit more, just because a lot more of their tannins and their bitterness is gone. This is one that we're going to sort of play by feel, I think.
Great. And so this is the kind of tea that not only gets better as you brew it out, but is the kind of tea that tends to like to be brewed out a long time as well, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate.
Cool. Alright. Round dos. Salud. It's still light.
Yeah, it is. Let's see. I think it's still starting to thicken up a little bit. It's a little bit thicker than the initial.
It is, but it's still light, and it's in a good way. It's not overpowering in any way.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with some of these older teas. Obviously not the tea bag that goes 6 times, but for some of them it can just take a few infusions before they're hitting at full throttle.
This is...
I'm getting stone fruits. The flavor is still pretty light. It's very smooth. It's very soft.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like that insofar as it opens up a lot of space for you to notice a lot of the subtleties of this tea. So if it was really hitting you over the head with the smoke, or if it was just really earthy, I don't think it would be able... We wouldn't be noticing quite as much. It wouldn't give us as much space to notice as much. You know what? This actually reminds me a little bit of the pound cake. But with a bit more depth and a little bit more tannin. but a similar sweetness. little stone fruity.
Honey?
Maybe just, honey, maybe just hints of some sort of floral.
I could get the honey.
Um,
So you're actually getting more tannins in this than the pound cake?
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Alright.
The pound cake ends up being very light.
Let's take another smell of this. I'm getting more florals off of that. Still some of those stone fruits, maybe a hint of leather.
Yeah. Definitely agree with the leather. It's a good, maybe a little bit of raspberry. Yeah, it's really pleasant. And you're using a hotter brewing vessel in general
Than a Gaiwan.
than a Gaiwan, and how would that affect the steeping of this type of tea? What would you recommend?
I mean, generally speaking, in broad terms, just more heat and more time brings out more out of the tea.
Right.
And you can see that after the reboil,
much
even
more
though my steep time is still very short, it's bringing out a little bit fuller color.
Yep.
And it looks to be maybe potentially a little bit more viscous too.
Definitely.
But we'll see. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Even this is bringing out a little bit more smoke, a little bit more tartness.
Yep. My throat is slowly being coated. I feel a lot of sweet flavors that just sort of linger in both the mouth and in the throat. I think the energy off of it's very relaxing.
Yeah. I'm feeling like today is one of those days where the thoughts are not, the inspiration is not coming to me, but I'm enjoying the tea just as much as I would any other session. This is really tasty. I don't know how to place this quite well, but it's not because it's not placeable.
If you were in a vacuum and you didn't know that this tea is from 1998, how old would you guess this tea is?
I wouldn't guess it's that old. It doesn't have that aged taste.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. I don't think I would.
2000s.
Yeah, I would guess maybe mid 2000s,
Yeah.
something like that. Something considerably younger.
Right. It doesn't taste like a fresh, very green pu'erh, raw pu'erh, but
It's
it
clearly some age,
Right.
and I think the aging has been very clean and very nice to the tea.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers. More fruit.
Yeah. So fuller taste. I definitely agree. There's more tannins in that too. So this is not a tea that you could push sort of indefinitely,
Right.
without being rewarded with a little bit of pushback from the tea.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really coated the whole of my mouth. I'm really tasting it in my esophagus and chest. I think James is spot on that it's got a relaxing energy, but it still has a good energy to it. So it's giving me a clarity of focus. Thank you, caffeine. But I'm also not needing to jump out of a window.
Yep. And I think this tea is appropriately named Evening Fragrant Jade as opposed to Friday Night, Let's Hit the Club. It's subtle. This tea, if you were chugging it, you would lose out a lot on a lot of this tea.
Right.
Because I think it's a very elegant tea.
Yeah, and it's developed a lot.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. At least in my mind. And it continues to just look like it's getting deeper and deeper, and
Yep.
more and more happening in the cup. And in terms of folks are gonna ask ratios.
Yeah, so I'm using about 5 grams. This Shiba Ridashi is about 75 milliliters, something around there. And like Denny pointed out earlier, it retains heat very well, so I think it makes it a little bit better for these older teas than sort of my thinner-walled Gaiwans.
Right, and if you're going to use a Gaiwan and you don't want to spend the money on getting some a thicker clay brewing vessel, just keep on pressing that boil button on your kettle, and that'll account for a lot of it too.
Yep. And also, if you just brew back-to-back and pour one into your cup and one into here, because you're hitting it hot, it doesn't have as much time to cool down.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the aroma is really still
It's
wonderfully
really nice.
rich. Very pleasant. Cheers.
Cheers.
feel like the leather has sort of overtaken those stone fruits as the predominant flavor. There's still definitely some tannins when pushed to this lane.
Yep.
But it's also much fuller. I feel a nice long thickness in the throat.
It's definitely, it's much more viscous. I agree, those sort of fruity, softer notes have dissipated a little bit. We're getting a little bit more of the sort of smoky earthiness of the tea coming out, which is great. Again, it's fun to sort of be riding the waves of different flavors coming through the tea as you brew it out. And that's what makes a focus session of drinking tea so enjoyable. So this would be a great tea to drink with a friend who's maybe really into tea, who has been familiar with raw pu'erh. I would say this is probably going to be it might not be as appreciated for someone who's never had a raw pu'erh before.
Yeah, it's subtle.
Yeah.
And I would also say that this tea is not a daily drinker. It's definitely let's sit down for some amount of time and let's enjoy this with a friend or something like that. And I think this infusion will cap us off for this episode.
So go check out Bana Tea, y'all.
Yeah, get a sample of this. It's a really nice one. And for me, when I originally had this tea, I was like, this is pretty good.
Right.
But, and then as I continued my session, it's definitely one that sort of grew on me.
Yeah.
And my appreciation for it was more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. This is quite tasty.
Yeah, so check out Bana Tea. This is a really nice aged tea.
Indeed.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yeah, and this is just gonna keep going. This will steep out another 5 to 6 times, being
at least,
deep and flavorful. So, it's these more expensive teas. They, hopefully, one would hope that they're gonna be able to give you a longer session as well. So there's definitely value there. But yeah, this is a special tea and really tasty. Yeah. So James, if folks wanted to learn more about specialties, about subtleties.
Specialties? Well, you should check us out at TeaDB.org. Lots of different videos and article content. Follow us on the social platforms, the standard stuff, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Also,
whatever's happening in the future, follow us on that.
Yeah, follow us on the futuristic social media, and if you're not on top of that, shame on you.
Shame.
Just shame. Shame on you. Please just also check out Bana Tea. They have a lot of good pu'erhs and aged teas similar to this. Definitely a great place to pick up a bunch of samples and do a lot of learning. So I definitely recommend them as far as that goes. And thank you guys for tuning in, and cheers.